What's up YouTube? It's Tractor X64 and this is episode 2 of Let's Play Kerbal Space Program. This episode we're going to be constructing and doing a brief test flight of this craft, which will bring our next space station module up, which is, you can see here, our fuel tanker. So this is going to bring up plenty of fuel that I will most likely be using as a refueling station for big rockets for like long missions in the future. Right now it's kind of just an aesthetic thing. I mean, this does obviously have functionality, but I'm probably not going to be using that functionality for a while because I'm still trying to focus on the space station and whatnot. But that's basically all this episode is. It's just construction and then a quick test flight to make sure the staging works. And I'm actually going to use this episode to talk a little bit about asparagus staging, and maybe I can sort of show you guys how to do that, because it's a great way to carry large payloads and that kind of stuff up to big orbits or long distances like the moon or Duna or whatever. So let's see here. I'm just going to get 4 stacks of tanks. Let's get these engines on here. It's kind of a so the base heavy lifting stage. The first stage is essentially the same as the one I used in the previous video, but I figured I'd kind of rebuild it so I can sort of show how asparagus staging works and how you do it. Because I watched videos of people doing it, but I couldn't really understand what they were doing, and I couldn't figure out how to get it to work. So hopefully I can explain that. So let's go ahead and strut everything together, as I always do. Just make sure everything's nice and tight together, because I don't want this thing to wobble itself and shake itself apart, completely explode and launch. So I'm going to put lots of struts on this, which you'll see me do in my videos, because it's a good habit to have. It's very effective at making sure you have a nice stable rocket. It's kind of tedious, but it's totally worth it. In my opinion, you can't really have too many struts. I mean, I'm sure you can. I don't know. They don't weigh much, and they're really effective, and they actually can look pretty good too. So let's get into this asparagus staging, and what this means is that I have these 4 outer tanks, and when at launch, all 5 engines are going to be burning, and after a little while, the 2 outer tanks are two of the outer tanks. This stack here and this stack here are going to empty their fuel into the next set of outer tanks, which means they will run out of fuel and they will jettison. And when they jettison, the remaining 3 tanks will actually have full fuel. I messed up here. I didn't want symmetry. So that's kind of a brief explanation of how it works. It's easier to understand if you kind of see it happening. But building it isn't as hard as it sounds. It sounds pretty complex, and when you watch it working, it looks like it'd be hard to do, but it's actually quite easy to do. So just try to follow along with what I do here. So basically, the first set you put... Oh crap, I keep doing that symmetry. I don't want that. Alright, let's just use... No, keeps bringing me back to 4. That's okay. I'll just use single. Alright, so this first set you're going to bring over to this next set, which means that this stack is going to empty its fuel into this stack. And now we're going to put a fuel pump from this stack into the center main stack, which means that this stack will empty into this stack, and when this runs out, it'll eject and empty into that middle stack, and you'll see how that works. It's kind of hard to explain. It's probably not making too much sense, but so now we're just going to mirror on this side what we did on the other side, and it'll do the same thing essentially. Let's see here. Alright, so those, yeah, you can see how I've basically just mirrored what I did on the other side. If I had attached those the 4 outer tanks in pairs of 2, it would have allowed me to do 2 symmetry, but I put them on as 4 symmetry, so it was kind of defaulting me to 4 symmetry, which is why that was happening. So I'm gonna put these nose cones on here. Makes it look sleeker. Put some struts on the top, and just to be sure, I'll put some more struts connecting these individual tanks together. So we have our main lifting stage and our module. It's a pretty simple rocket. Also, you may notice I'm actually using docking ports, 2 docking ports. One of them flipped around to attach my little engine on my module here, and I'm just making an action group for my panels. And I did that because what I wanted to do was eject, essentially on dock the engine. Once I'm docked with the station, on dock the engine, and then that gives me another docking port on the back there. So that's why I did that. I suppose I guess I probably could have just put a docking port and then a decoupler, but oh well. It looks interesting too. Actually, it looks pretty ugly, but oh well. I put some struts in there too to make sure it's all secure. So those are the docking ports. So let's go ahead and bring this out to the launch pad. Or not. What? That's interesting. It's like the tank just like exploded. I'm left with just the engine sitting on the ground. Well. Oh, you know what? I know how to fix this. All I have to do is add those launch tower things, stability enhancers. I kind of forgot to do that. It's probably a good idea to do this too. Oh, you know what? I completely forgot to talk about staging. Yep, that's okay. Let's do that real quick with these decouplers here. So, since our fuel valves mean that let's see, let's try it. So these 2 stacks will fall off first, or run out of fuel first. We're going to find that decoupler in our little set of 4 here and bring it down into their own stage, so when it runs out we can drop them, and then that leaves us with the next 2, and then add the that middle engine on the bottom. Man, I had a lot of stuff messed up there. Alright, there we go. I think that should work now. Let's give this a shot. And like I said, I'm just going to fly this up, demonstrate asparagus staging, and then I'll just stop. I'm not going to get myself into orbit. I'll do that off video, make sure I can successfully get into a good orbit with this ship. If not, I'll probably just simply add more tanks and do a bigger asparagus staging setup, but looks like this will work for now. So you can see here, let me throttle down so we don't explode. So asparagus staging, you see those on the left, 2 of the bars are actually running out of fuel quickly than the rest, and those are the 2 that we put the fuel valves on first. And you'll see that those will run out of fuel, and then we'll drop them, and you'll see what happens, and you'll see why asparagus staging is so awesome. So we're at about 5,000 feet. So those are out, and then you hit space, radial decouplers, drop those down. Now you see with asparagus staging, because they empty into each other, we now have full fuel. We have full fuel tanks. So we can keep going with these tanks here. Now I'm not going to do that because that'll take too long. Whoops. Oh well. Well, you may have noticed it, but when I separated those last 2 tanks, the middle tank once again had full fuel. And that really is the beauty of asparagus staging. You can it's almost like you're replenishing your fuel as you go up. Now, not really, it's not like you're magically creating more fuel, but it is a very effective way to get up there, get big payloads up into orbit. So I'm probably going to pretty much crash and die here with my module. But, oh well, what are you going to do? Yeah, this engine isn't very powerful. Well, that'll pretty much wrap up this video. Next, stay tuned for the next episode in our series, which will probably be the docking of this capsule that you see here plummeting to its doom. So, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Be sure to check out my channel for more KSP videos. I have moon landing tutorial and episode 1 of this series, and there's more to come. So thanks for watching.